Let's briefly look at some of the dangers of case studies and short scenarios in ethics. These type of short scenarios are quite common. For example, the Heinz scenario with Kohlberg's moral foundation theory. Another really common scenario that's often discussed in ethics is the trolley problem. Now let's look at a version of the trolley problem here. This is one that I copied from Wikipedia. It says, there's a runaway trolley barreling down the railroad tracks. Ahead, on the tracks, there are 5 people tied up and unable to move. The trolley is headed straight for them. So it looks like they're going to die. They're going to get run over by the trolley. You are standing some distance off in the train yard next to a lever. So there's a lever that you can control. If you pull this lever, the trolley will switch to a different set of tracks. So instead of going towards the 5 people, it'll go to a different set of tracks. However, you notice that there is 1 person on the side track. You have 2 options. Do nothing, and the trolley kills the 5 people on the main track. So if you don't do anything, keep your hands off, 5 people are going to die. Or if you pull the lever, actively causing the trolley to change lanes, it'll divert the trolley onto the side track where only 1 person will be killed. What is the correct moral choice? So that's a trolley problem, and you can see that's a tough question. A lot of times this is framed in the question of like, oh, do you want to actively kill 1 person or passively let 5 people die? And different people would do different things, and there's no clear moral response to this question. The utilitarian approach would say, well, have 1 person die rather than 5. The sense of personal responsibility says, no, I don't want to be responsible for the death of 1 person. And so there's a lot of factors, and there have been many very serious studies done on variations of this trolley problem to understand human nature. But what I want to do is I want to focus on some of the limitations of the trolley problem, because the trolley problem or the Heinz scenario or any other short scenario that puts people in a moral predicament. The main critique that I want to have is that these scenarios are artificially brief. In real life, you would probably have a lot more information. You would have more knowledge. You'd have more knowledge about the situation occurring, and you'd also have more knowledge about how you could get more knowledge. And that it's that this idea of getting more knowledge, understanding things better, is super important. So let's take that brief trolley scenario, and there are other things that we might know, or we might be able to find out, depending on the exact scenario of things that are going, that would influence our decision. So here are some pieces of information. Why are the people tied up and unable to move? That just seems like something that is important to know. Why do you have the responsibility for pulling the lever? Why am I near the lever? Is this my job? Why am I there by the lever? What are other options besides pulling the lever? Are there other options? Can one derail the trolley? Are there other levers to pull? What's going on? Are there other options? Why is there a runaway trolley? If we knew this question, that could influence our. If we knew that answer, that could influence our decision. How certain is it that the lever will act as predicted? Will the lever? Do I really know how to use the lever so that it changes tracks? Will it do what I think it will do? Do I have that expertise? How sure are you that you have interpreted the situation correctly? perhaps no one's going to die. Perhaps you've misinterpreted the situation, and if you do pull the trigger, one person will die, but no matter what, the other 5 people will be safe if we misinterpret the situation. How likely is it that someone's intentionally deceiving you, and those 2 scenarios that you're given don't describe reality? There's just a lot of things that, by having these artificially short scenarios, we can't take into consideration, whereas things like how accurate is our interpretation of the situation, how likely is it that someone's deceiving us, would have an incredible impact on our decision on what we should do. So what I want to do is I want to emphasize the importance of knowledge. The more knowledge of a situation that we have, the more likely we are to have a good decision. Even if our knowledge is just that maybe our interpretation of the situation is not correct. Perhaps it's the knowledge that, there is a possibility that someone is deceiving us. There is a possibility that I'm making a mistake. By being aware of these different possibilities, by being aware of different elements of the situation, we can make a better decision. And this is an idea that's found in one of my favorite Bible passages. This is the Apostle Paul writing to the church in the town of Philippi in Greece. And he says, "And this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best." As Christians, we are called to love people. That's the main characteristics that Christians should have, is this desire to do good to other people. But in order to do so, we need to know their situation. We need to understand what they're going through. We need to understand what their needs are. And it's only our ability to love will increase with more knowledge, the greater the knowledge we have of the person and their situation.